Okay. Can I hear myself? Hello? Okay. Can I hear myself? Hello? How fun. Can I hear myself? Hello? How fun. Can I hear myself? Hello? So I'm going to take a minute to get set up here. Hey! I thought I was more technically advanced, but I'm not. So there's a little bit of a lag, so I'm going to turn down my volume. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Gabby. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Cool. I'm going to take a minute before I introduce myself, just to wait for some more people. Very cool. Hope everyone's doing well. Maybe if you know me, just let me know how you're doing as well. So cool. It's good to see you too. Oh yeah. So maybe I'll wait like another minute and then I'll introduce myself. How are you, Gabby? Things in Nashville are very good. Today, the weather's been, actually we've had a really nice spring, very temperate. So the weather's been good. Things are normal. Nashville's great. I really love Nashville. I've lived all over the place. I lived in Fort Lauderdale and near New Orleans, and Nashville's definitely my favorite. Good, Jenny. Keep trying. That's all we can do, right? Really glad to see you're doing well. Hi, Christine. Oh, this is so cool. I've never gone live with anything before, so this is my first. So I'm excited that this will be a very intentional experience. So we can get into some of the questions after I introduce myself. For those that maybe don't know me, my name is Caroline. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I currently work at Recovery Unplugged as one of the primary therapists. I have worked in the field for about 5 years now. And I can say I've worked in a number of different settings in mental health, and addiction and substance abuse treatment is by far my favorite. It's so interesting. And when we talk about just addiction treatment, it overlaps with so many other different types of mental health. So you've got, co-occurring disorders, you've got trauma work, you've got family issues. So I really, really love working in addiction. What type of therapy? I've been trying to think about this, of what type of therapy I do. It feels like it changes every day, but most consistently throughout the years I've done this, I do a lot of mindfulness. The technical term is mindfulness-based cognitive behavioral therapy with an emphasis on emotions, so emotionally focused therapy. And basically all that means is our emotions tell us a lot about ourselves, and And so when we have the capacity to slow down mindfully and engage with those emotions, we have a lot of the answers to our problems that we didn't think we had. So my favorite thing to do with clients is to help them slow down. And obviously when you're at the level of care of like detox or res, you really need help slowing down. And so that's one of my favorite things to do. I love yoga too. I believe in yoga, integrated therapy, and body work, because so much of the time we spend trying to fix our heads when our body stores a lot of our problems too. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm always open to more questions too. I'm kind of an open book. So I will be happy to answer some questions. Just so everyone's aware too, and if you pop up on this screen and you've been my client before, I just want to make sure that I am cognizant of HIPAA. So I can't get too personal to answer questions, but general questions are really good. So, yes. So good. So it'd be so cool also in this stream to see if anyone's currently struggling with addiction too, just to get some feedback from me, or mental health issues. Love those kind of questions. I really nerd out when it comes to mental health. I'm just a mental health nerd. So love answering complex questions. Let's see what we got here. Okay. What would you say to someone who is using social distancing as an excuse to relapse? Ooh, what interesting times we're living in. I think that this pandemic will change our culture forever. But one thing I've noticed culturally is that we're normalizing substance use in a way. And so it places people who have addiction, when it's culturally normal, you kind of feed into that sometimes. So it's weird when I'm really big on semantics. So when we say as an excuse to relapse, more often than not, I like the term permission. Like, I'm at home alone, I'm more depressed because I'm at home alone and I'm anxious, and so the only way in which I feel like I can regulate is to use. And so, yeah, I would just say, you still, when you're at home alone and you feel isolated, you still have a lot of resources that I feel like you probably need help accessing. So like for right now, there's so much like Zoom classes, and there's you could talk with a therapist online, you can go for a walk, they're kind of quick fixes, but there's stuff to get engaged so you don't feel as overwhelmed. I think that answers the question. I'm at home, by the way. I'm not at Recovery Unplugged, so I feel extra comfortable. Let's see, Jenny's got a question here. She says, I'm struggling with having my daughter back after 14 years and my emotions are overwhelming me. Any thoughts on how to handle that? Oh yeah, emotions are tough. Emotions are tough. I would, trying to think, if you were my client and we were sitting and you brought this up, I would want to know, and feel free to type this in, is like, what emotions do you feel are coming up? Like I said earlier, doing emotionally focused therapy, certain emotions tell us things. And so when we're anxious, sometimes our emotions are trying to tell us that we feel very out of control. And so I would want to ask, what are some things that you can either actively do to make you feel like you're more in control, Or what are some ways that you could like challenge your thoughts that help you understand that you actually are in control? Because a lot of the times our feelings lie to us, and they're not accurate. And so that I'm going to start nerding out here. A lot of that comes down to how we were raised. So when we're raised in childhood in a kind of like an environment that tells us that we're not safe or things aren't normal a lot, we are primed to be anxious. And so that carries with us through every interaction we have. Fear, lack of ability, and very anxious. See, I knew it was anxiety. So that's our anxiety tells us that like we don't feel safe. We don't feel like we're in control. And so it's like, what do I have control of? How can I make myself a little bit more comfortable? That was a great question, Jenny. Thank you for that. I hope that answered. I'm not sure how to be a mom in recovery. Oh, that's so good. I feel like a lot of people deal with that. And it makes me think of Carl. I know everyone on here probably knows Carl. He's a really wonderful therapist at Nashville Recovery Unplugged. And he talks about putting his recovery before everything, putting it before his kids, putting it before his marriage. Because if you don't get a strong hold on your recovery, everything else that's below it is going to go away. You know what I mean? And just, trying your best, cutting yourself a break too. Parents are so hard on themselves. So it's like, cut yourself a break without kind of getting into that permission statement of, I can only regulate if I use. I hope that makes sense. Jason, good question. I'm struggling keeping a schedule. Any suggestions? Very human thing, Jason. I struggle with that too.